Okay, so my name is Brenda Langton, and we're in Spoon River Restaurant. Um, this is the third restaurant of mine that I've owned. Started in the restaurant world when I was 15, and I worked at a vegetarian cooperative restaurant, and really did everything because as co-ops go, back then anyways in the early 70s, we did everything. You weren't hired to be a cook, you weren't hired to be a dishwasher. It was a collective. We all learned everybody else's jobs, including ordering, counting the money, going to the bank, all of it. So even though I was very young at the time, not so young in your eyes, but I still was an equal, which was an interesting way to start my life in the field, in the work field. And the community that put the co-op together, they were pretty radical, a bunch of hippies, and I learned a tremendous amount because of that opportunity to really do everything. So at that point, we moved the restaurant a couple of times, which if you've ever moved a restaurant is a big job. But it sort of gave me extra confidence. And after 6 years, I was 21 and I had done a fair amount of traveling all over the world and went to every farmer's market I could find and went to every vegetarian restaurant I could find all over Europe, all over many countries. And I came back and I took it over. I became a capitalist and I wrote letters to all of the owners, and I actually started the restaurant up as my own enterprise. No, it was really all hands-on from just learning.
But like in today's world, you think that maybe, for example, the people that you hire here, they would need that kind of education or training?
Oh yeah, I hire now. Yes, now I pretty much hire graduates of the culinary. That being said, there are many people that have what it takes to be a cook. There are many, many great chefs all around the world. And so what you don't want is you don't want somebody that is egotistical. I mean, everyone has an ego. Everyone needs a certain amount of ego. And, a certain amount is fine and good for us. But it's like, you did not invent cooking, and there's so much beautiful work being done out there. And so we try to find people that have a natural ability. It's hard to really teach people if they don't have a natural ability to be in the kitchen. You really either are comfortable in there or it's going to take, it takes a long time to kind of get that. But not to say that you can teach it, but you can see, you usually can feel it if you have a love for the kitchen. And really, people that go to cooking schools now, some of the cooking schools will take you without any experience, which is a very bad idea. I mean, how do you know you want to be a restaurateur, a chef, any type of chef, or a manager if you don't know what you're getting into? So there are schools out there that will take a tremendous amount of your money to attend without that work. So get a job in a restaurant, get a job doing whatever to start, and really put in a couple of years. Even if you start washing dishes, that's fine. And then take it to the next level and the next level. A lot of chefs have started by washing dishes. And really, there are so many people that say, well, maybe I should just go to, which school should I go to? Okay, so, and the worst thing to do is to go to the most expensive school, in my opinion. like there are community colleges now that teach cooking and you know, cooking management, restaurant management, etc. That, like, they're like, I don't even know what the current price is because they've changed so much, but I think they're around, I want to say 12,000 now. Whereas if you went to, and I will name names, Cordon Bleu, or if you go to the Art Institute or the Culinary Institute of America, they are very, very expensive. And you end up graduating with just too many bills, and you have, you know, the same situation as, say, the Ivory Tower movie that's out about colleges. So I really don't recommend, unless you have a trust fund, and that's fine, great. If you have that, wonderful. Or somebody has some money to pay for college, to the culinary school, then that could be a nice option. But again, you have to have a couple years of experience. I actually get here early in the morning, and before I leave the house, I'm talking to my fishmonger, Coastal Seafood, and so we talk almost every morning, and we have talked for 30-some years, and I've had the same people to talk to. So we're on very good, friendly terms, and we catch up on the restaurant gossip too. But quickly, because they're extremely busy. And so I order my fish, and I know I'm going to get, like, pretty much some of the best fish coming through this town. And because they would never sell me anything but that, because they respect and love me just as I respect and love them. Unlike many chefs who will pick up a phone and treat some of their purveyors and poorly. And in fact, it's still being taught in some of the schools that it's actually okay to yell at your distributors, all this malarkey. You know, it's like, way to build a good relationship. You know, scream at your, most important people getting you the good food. So anyways, I make that call, and then I call my chefs because I don't get here bright and early, and I either tell them, well, I get here about 9. So I tell them, I just check in, everything okay? Do you need anything? This is the fish that's coming. How do you want to do it? And my chefs and I have worked together for so many years that we actually just kind of quickly talk it through at the beginning of the week, because we change things every week. That being said, I check to see, they'll say, oh God, Brenda, something is, the freezer seems to be reacting. So we have to do a general check-in. You will not believe how many things break down in the restaurant. And, this is like a new restaurant. It's nonstop. And so then I come to work, and my manager is here, and we touch base, and I check in with all my other cooks, and get ready for service. Everybody's cooking away. Pastry chef starts oftentimes at 5 a.m. And we have several cooks in the kitchen, and then we're ready for business while we're answering the phone and taking reservations and dealing with all of our lovely customers and our crazy customers, and the day goes on. We service lunch. We have a little downtime, changing of the guards. The dinner chefs come in. We connect. We talk. We say what everyone's cooking. The farmers are coming in delivering beef and chicken and eggs and cheese and butter. And Sandra Jean, who's been growing for me for over 23 years, she delivers every twice a week during the summer. And then we have dinner. We have service. Internships, I would take some cooking classes. Even the cooking classes at Cooks in Edina, Cooks in Crocus Hill, Kitchen Window. The community, there are some great community classes, and like rec centers that do. And those are great. They're cheap. You can often, get somebody from Thailand he's gonna teach us, ethnic food. All these different ethnic foods. That is a really cheap, good way to get classes. Reading books. Get out cookbooks and read them. Watching cooking classes on, watching the good chefs on the internet. Like, you know, people that are really good, don't waste your time with a bunch of buffoons. There are buffoons out there. But you know, like even like when you watch somebody like Wolfgang Puck or Mario Batali, now Mario's not healthy, but he's a good cook. Just needs to ratchet it, pull it in on what to eat. You know, you can watch their utmost confidence in what they do and how they move, and every movement is, you know, precise and beautiful and simple, and you can learn a lot because movement is very important in a kitchen. You know, work on your palate, understand what you're tasting, understand why the foods, you know, have different textures and tastes and what goes well. And it's really about taking the energy of the food, learning best ways to put it together, because you know, food is medicine. You know, if we don't take care of our bodies, you know, I think of like our bodies as like a car, and if you don't, you know, take care of it, much more complicated than a car. You know, if we don't take care of it, then we have nothing. It's important to get into it young. So speaking to you guys is important because I have so many people that come to me that have to have careers, other careers, and then they come to me and go, oh, I want a restaurant. And I'm like, okay, you're not young enough. Because you really have to work your ass off, you know. And I mean, I used to sleep on my freezer. I worked all the time, you know. But I loved what I did. And to this day, it's never boring. It is, now I don't cook in the kitchen, you know, I don't cook the line. I did that for many, many years. I'm 57 now, so I've been doing this a long time. And there's just so much more now that I do with management, and now it's like I need a psychology degree in managing people because I have 50 staff. And I am sort of a hands-on person, and I love my staff, so it's like, you know, I'm not one of those managers who, you know, doesn't care about their staff, and I'm never one of those kind of restaurateurs that want to have many restaurants. You know, there are those people that want to just look at it for a money-making, you know, very profitable. I can continue to make more money if I add another restaurant and another restaurant and another restaurant. For me, it's about just making a good living, quality life, a service to the community, cooking good food. This isn't just a fad cooking like people used to call my cafe Brenda, which was on First Avenue in Minneapolis, Cafe Trenda for a while, because they thought it was trendy. It wasn't trendy, it was my lifestyle. It was people realizing that fast food is not good for us. You know, preservatives and, you know, meats that are, you know, corn-fed and pumped full of hormones aren't good for us. So I would always like take a little offense to that. It's not a trend, but it's not just a business. We take it very seriously. Restaurants, there's a lot of dysfunction in restaurants, you know, like the kitchen and the front of the house. I will not tolerate that, and for me, this might sound trite, but it isn't at all, but my job is to keep a happy kitchen and to keep a happy dining room in terms of my staff, because when you have a happy kitchen and you have chefs that cook because they love to cook, they love to please me, they love to please the customers, they're happy, they feel good about what they're making, then there's love, then there's beautiful food. And when you have people that are cranky and unhappy and angry, you don't want to eat that food. You know, I provide them with a good, nurturing kitchen and with the best ingredients I can. I source from all over. I mean, my husband pays all the bills. He writes a gajillion checks. We got to get on QuickBooks. And that's the other thing is, you know, who are you going to, you know, just finding a good, nobody should ever put up with a dysfunctional kitchen. So if you're out there, you're young, you're getting in a job, find and don't put up with a dysfunctional kitchen. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that stress. Nobody needs bullshit like that. You know, just really find a place that you know you fit in, and it's professional, and people care about what they're doing, because that's very, very important. And there's so many crazy people out there with, oh, this diet is what we need to do, and this diet, and this diet, and this diet. And I always say extreme diets are for extreme people. So don't get caught up in thinking, oh my God, I gotta learn this, or I gotta learn that, there's beautiful food from all around the world, and start to study it, and start to embrace it. Because for me as a chef, I would never want to be just one. You know, like, oh, this is a French restaurant, or this is an Italian restaurant, or this is, that just kind of gets like, there's just too much out there. There's just too many beautiful cuisines. And so we like to borrow. We like to do fusion. Fusion's great. Some people say, oh, fusion, that's like passe, and fusion's great. I mean, we'll take an Italian ravioli, we'll stuff it with a potato samosa Indian filling, and then we'll put it in a Thai green curry sauce. And it's delicious. So fusion is beautiful. You know, go to the local farmer markets, and we have started our own here 8 years ago. So it's the Mill City Farmers Market. It's probably the largest market in the area it is the largest market in the area that is all local, and mostly organic and sustainable. So reading up and understanding where our food comes from, there's so much good information out there now, there's so many good authors, that for me to suggest that to just go to be any chef would not be something I would recommend. I would recommend somebody to go into being a chef as a healthy chef, as somebody that embraced, sustainability, because our world needs that. We really, we need all the young people, we need all the young farmers, we need all young educators and chefs to be teaching, what it means to live holistically, so that the earth is in a better place with all the global warming and everything. So when you study sustainability and you eat sustainably, that means you're shopping at, and buying lots of beautiful vegetables and organically grown food, and not dealing with food that's from all over the world and packaged in a million different ways. So it's like you kill two birds with one stone. When you eat sustainably and shop sustainably, you are helping the world.